Straight here.
The real time in the morning.
Yeah, I was at the club. I left 2 minutes early.
You're alive.
Exactly.
Good morning, everyone. At approximately 3:09 a.m., uniformed members from the 114 precinct responded to a call for an officer shot at 57th Street and Northern Boulevard. Upon arrival, officers encountered 2 males with gunshot wounds laying on the ground. One of the males was identified as an off-duty NYPD lieutenant. Preliminarily, he sustained multiple gunshot wounds about the body. The other male is a suspected shooter in the case. A semi-automatic handgun with an extended magazine was recovered from his immediate vicinity. The firearm is displayed here by Chief O'Reilly. Both the off-duty officer and the suspect were taken here to Elmhurst General Hospital. The current status of the officer is critical, but thankfully stable condition. The shooting suspect sustained a gunshot wound to his chest and stomach. He was pronounced deceased at approximately 3:35 a.m. At this point, the investigation remains very active and ongoing. Preliminarily, we believe the off-duty officer was present at a nightclub located in the vicinity of the shooting at 57th Street and Northern Boulevard. At some point, the officer exits the club where he is confronted by several armed individuals wearing masks. We believe these individuals were attempting to rob the officer, possibly of jewelry that the officer was wearing. Moments later, there was an exchange of gunfire between the officer and at least one of the perpetrators. The remaining suspects fled the scene, possibly in a vehicle. Investigators are at the scene actively looking for witnesses and canvassing for video as we speak. We would ask anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. Finally, I want to thank Dr. Badia, who is here, all of the hospital nurses and doctors at this hospital, not just for tonight what they do, but what they do every night. And most importantly, I'd like to forget somebody that sometimes we forget to mention, the FDNY paramedics. We just came from a briefing where we watched the body camera of the first responding officers, and I think we would have a very different outcome if not for the professionalism of those FDNY paramedics and for what they did to save our officers' life. So thank you. I'm going to turn it over briefly to Lou Turco from the LBA, who is up here, and then I'll take some questions.
Thanks, Commissioner. He hit on what we saw the body camera, and this officer had minutes to live, and FDNY, the first responding officers, and then the FDNY. I can't believe how much work and how dedicated they were to saving this officer's life, and then they bring him here, and the staff at Elmhurst, just a phenomenal job. But as I was coming here, I was trying to think, what do we want to say? We say it all the time. We got lucky tonight. It's like, when is this luck going to run out? And I'm saying, I got to stop with this luck stuff, And we always talk about getting guns off the street. We got to get guns off the street. Yes, we got to get guns off the street. We got to get the individual carrying the gun off the street. There's two parts to this, not just the gun. If you just get the gun and not the individual, he goes and gets another gun. We're missing it. These individuals carrying guns should not be on the street. And stop with just getting guns off the street. Change the narrative to get the individual and the gun off the street. So let's see if we can get that message out, because we're losing it out there. There's too many guns out there, and we're going to run into one, and we're not going to be as lucky. But thank you. Thanks, Commissioner.
So I'll take some questions. It is very early in the investigation, but we'll do our best to answer what you have. Any questions? Rocco?
Did they target him from inside the club? Was there some dispute?
It's very early as we hear. We have nothing about a dispute at this point in time. Rocco, it's extremely early. We know that there is a point in time. The lieutenant worked last night. He worked till approximately, I think, just before midnight. He comes off duty to this club. We know he's in that club for a period of time. At some point, he comes outside, and that's where what we believe to be an attempted robbery takes place.
Is it a pattern?
Well, it's very early. So we know that this MO is being currently investigated. We have a number of incidents. I think we've briefed the media before. There is a citywide pattern of individuals going to nightclubs, wearing jewelry, coming out and being targeted. I think we released a body-worn camera video just in the last week or two of an officer in Manhattan exchanging gunfire as a car trying to escape drives down the sidewalk. We recovered a gun in that incident as well. So that's certainly something that we're going to look at. What we know right now is we have preliminary information that there is multiple perpetrators wearing full mask, not a COVID mask, a ski mask, and multiple perpetrators that are all armed. That's what we have. The story sometimes changes in this line of work, But it would certainly fit the existing patterns that we have.
Any name or priors on the suspect or deceased?
We're not going to release, for pending notification to family, et cetera. We have the perpetrator that is deceased identified. He has one prior arrest last year in New York City. He may have additional outside New York City, but in New York City, one arrest for a gang assault. And that's an active case. Any last questions, Rocco?
Could you characterize the club at all as far as past problems, drugs, narcotics?
I don't have any of that as a,
And is it an off-limits spot?
not to my knowledge. Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, is there any interaction between the off-duty officer and the people who were in the club prior to the incident outside?
That'll be all part of the investigation, but we do not have that currently. We have the officer in the club. He leaves the club at some point in time, and that's where we have what we believe to be an attempted robbery. We have multiple shots fired. We believe we have 8 shots fired by our officer. We believe we have 9 shots fired at this point in time. That could change by the suspects. We do not know. It would be too early to say if it's all fired by one suspect, but ballistics and video will come together and we'll get a clearer picture on that.
The other suspects that are outstanding, they also had guns, but it's unclear if they fired rounds. Or was it just the
That's accurate. I mean, we have 2 groupings of shell casings. It's entirely possible they came from one from the officer's gun, one from one suspect's gun, but we've seen that change over time too. So we do have an individual telling us, uninvolved in the incident, that we have 3 individuals wearing masks, all armed with firearms. So that's what we're right now, but it's very early, and that story could have changed as we're standing here.
Last question right here.
Can you all characterize more the lieutenant's condition right now? Is he alert? Is he talking? What kind of spirit is he in?
He was conscious when I arrived. I was able to briefly interact with him. He has multiple gunshot wounds. He is lucky to be alive, and he is in critical but stable condition. So everyone should, keep him in your thoughts and prayers tonight. We would have a very different outcome if not for the FDNY paramedics that did incredible work on the street to get him here, and Elmhurst Hospital taking it from there, and the hospital staff and the critical ER staff here, the doctors, the nurses, the team that really got us to where we are right now. So he's in our thoughts and prayers, and we're hoping for a strong recovery.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.